Rev up your engine. I got a 2007 Camry, but it's a hybrid. So, finally, we get to talk about, do these things hold up? Well, there's a little irony in this car. It's 17 years old, it's got 189,000 miles, and he's never had a problem with the hybrid system, but the irony is, the system hasn't been touched, it's still got the original battery, but the engine had to be replaced. Now, he got lucky. He had a Russian mechanic who was a friend of his when he lived on the West Coast, replaced the engine for $1,500, parts and labor. Great deal, right? This is exactly the opposite of what normally happens. Usually with a hybrid car, you're all worried about the hybrid system. In this case, the engine went out, but the hybrid system itself, still got the original battery and everything. Before we do anything else, we're going to check it out with a new hybrid computer. Now, as you can see, it's got a regular OBD port, and I'm hooking it up to the Sync Diag 3 that interfaces with the main unit here. Now, we'll start by doing an intelligent diagnosis, and you can see it knows it's a Toyota Camry Hybrid vehicle. See, it can do a smart scan, and while it's doing it, it just looks like a regular Camry. You know, these things run forever. Seats still in good shape. Yeah, the armrests always go bad. They're kind of cheap, but the rest of the car's in pretty good shape. See here, as we zoom in, it's got 179,109 miles on it, and as you can see, it's scanned through it all, and it's all normal. The gray stuff is stuff this car just doesn't have, because it's an older car. It's a 2007, right? As you can see, hey, look, doesn't have any problems so far. Nothing's picked up as abnormal. So, hey, it's a Camry. Get some of the data stream here. You can see there's 111 different ones. We'll look at the onboard data, or read live data on that. Now, the only problem with the data on these is it's a hybrid. The engine turns itself on and off. So, if you really want to do engine data, you would want to turn the AC on full blast, headlights, high beam, everything to make the engine run as much as possible so you can get actual data while the engine's running. That's the only problem with these things working on it. We'll look at the live data for the hybrid controls. You get lots of interesting information. It shows you your auxiliary battery voltage, but it also shows your battery blocks for each of the different blocks. See, it's got all the data. There are 17 battery blocks in the battery, so there's 17 little battery packs all put together. See, there's 17, 16. It gives all the information for all of them. It's old, but the hybrid battery pack's still good. They're all like 16.81, 16.9, 16.8. It's still in excellent shape. All those cells work together to make about 245 volts, all 17 of them added together. So, hey, this thing's got all that mileage, almost 200,000. The battery pack is still in good shape. Now, I already did the fault code, but let's look at it again anyways, just to make sure. Doesn't have any fault code. Things we can actuate if we want, various things we can activate, check the battery charge, but we know it's good now, so we don't have to. So I do have to say, the Think Car, Think Diag 3 for electric vehicles, hey, it looks like it's going to be a pretty handy tool. He did tell me he uses the regenerative braking all the time, using the transmission downshifting to get the most out of the regenerative braking, and in this case, man, that regenerative braking has worked because the battery pack is still practically at 100%, as old as it is. It shows that Toyota knew what they were doing when they built this thing. This is an 07. You know, this is an early Camry hybrid, and for Toyota putting a gasoline engine in it that ended up burning oil and had to be replaced. It's a shame because he did have a guy put an engine and cost him $1,500. If he didn't have to do this would have been pretty much a perfect car. Hey, if this was a regular 07 Camry, aside from the engine burning oil, it can last and last and last. Showing that Toyota's foray into hybrids that started with the Prius worked out pretty well when they slapped it into the Camry. Now, the newer Camry hybrids get even better fuel economy. They don't have problems with the engines burning oil. If it hadn't have been for that engine put in it, this car would have needed nothing. It's still on the original hybrid battery. Yeah, he had to replace the regular battery. Realize that all cars that are hybrid or electric, they also have a regular 12 volt, like your car, that starts everything up, because in this case it's like 245 volts, the hybrid battery. It's too much power and it could cause problems. So the 12 volt system is the safety, and then it turns a bunch of relays on and gets the transformers working. Then it starts to use the 245 volts to help propel the car down the road. So let's take this old Camry hybrid for a spin. You see the flashing light. The tire pressure monitoring doesn't work anymore. That's typical. The sensors on these things, they just wear out over time. Who cares? Get a tire gauge, measure your tire pressure. And if you were just driving this thing and didn't know, you just think it's a regular Camry. Sounds like a regular Camry. It just has a hybrid system that boosts power and gas mileage. Being the 07 Camry, okay, they're not race car suspension. They're a bit on the soft side because they knew the average American wants a smooth ride, not particularly tight handling. Now, you get in a modern TRD Camry, they handle like a dream. This is the old soft style, and that's what Americans want. They want a comfy car for going around in. And he bought this brand new. He thought he'd try a hybrid car. And like I said, the hybrid had no problem at all. So you can't even blame the hybrid for the one problem the car had. We'll get to our little drag strip. Here we go. We'll floor it. And runs perfectly fine. Now, you can tell it's not a regular Camry because being a hybrid, it's got an electronic CVT transmission. It's not regular gear, so it's not going to go downshift. But still, here we are going 40. We'll floor it for passing gear. You can see it picks up pretty good. You got plenty of acceleration driving down the road, passing people. Just actually a little bit more than a regular Camry because it's got that boost from the electrical system. It is a relatively small hybrid battery, so it doesn't weigh that much, so it's not like an electric car that's going to weigh a ton more. It's a hybrid car with a small battery to give boost. Thing's 17 years old, still rides good, doesn't make any odd noises, the bearings are all still good. Like I said, the only thing a normal person is going to notice is that it doesn't shift gears because it doesn't have a gear automatic transmission. It is an electronic CVT transmission because it's a Toyota Hybrid. In the Toyota Hybrid, it shuts the engine off. So when you're stopping, it's really quiet, just like an electric car. Hey, it's still a decent handling car. Takes the curves, nice comfy ride. After all, it's a Toyota Camry. It just happens to be a hybrid Camry. And a hybrid system, after almost 200,000 miles, hasn't had a single glitch in it yet. Okay, it's 17 years old. He still gets like 30 miles a gallon in town and about 40 on the highway. Ironically enough, the only problem it had was the non-hybrid part. The combustion engine, that 2.4 liter, and he had that replaced, but it only cost him $1,500. I mean, look at it. The paint's still in good shape. I mean, an old one that all the hybrid parts, including the hybrid battery, are still original on the vehicle. And here's some bonus questions and answers. News next says, I have a 2009 Honda Civic. A guy told me these normal repairs are the value of the car. They say that it needs brakes, spark plugs, and a couple maintenance items, and that it needs the right front control, bushing, and recommend 2 lower control arms assembly. The total is $5,000. Is it worth spending this? And the value of the car is about that. There's no way that you pay that kind of money for that kind of work. Go somewhere else. The guys really charge you for a bunch of stuff that you may or may not even need. I mean, it's a 2009 Honda Civic. It's not all that old. I got a 2007 Matrix. Still runs like a clock. Doesn't need any of those parts, right? This guy wants like $5,000 to work. I've seen guys do that same work for maybe $1,500. You can get aftermarket parts. You don't have to go to Honda to buy control arms. There's many aftermarket companies out there that make perfectly good control arms, and you can get all that work done. It's just bolting stuff on and off. Most of those parts you just bolt off, bolt on. You could easily do it yourself with simple hand tools. And any mechanic that's a good mechanic that knows the stuff could honestly show you here, well, we should do this first. This is the more dangerous. You can work on doing this other stuff over time. And if you don't care, we can get aftermarket parts. You can get aftermarket brakes and rotors. They don't cost that much at discount auto parts stores, and they work perfectly fine. Start with another mechanic or try to do it yourself. I would fix it. Those are excellent cars. I think you're just getting taken for a ride. I see that all the time too. Get another opinion on what you actually need. I've had people bring me cars like that. I look at them, I say, if you want to spend $300-400 doing some brake work, go ahead. The rest of the stuff is still perfectly strong and stable, and there's nothing wrong with it. John Eisenberg says, Scotty, you got a troll trying to scam your subscribers. I left a comment. I got a request to go to Telegram and contact you at Michael Kilmer. I was told that, I won a 2023 GMC Denali, and I just had to pay the delivery fee. Yes, somebody is trying to scam you. Now, ScottyKilmer@gmail.com. That's me. That is the only me. I don't have any other ones that I use. That's my email. So anybody says anything, the only people can have ScottyKilmer@gmail.com are me. As far as I know, Google doesn't share it with anybody else. I've been doing this so long on the internet that I was able to use my actual name at gmail.com. No dots, no pushes, no nothing, right? But there's all kinds of scumbags out there. And somebody says you won something, all you got to pay is the delivery fee. Do not send them any money because you'll never get the GMC Denali, but they will take the delivery fee and take your money away. I don't don't do any of that kind of nonsense. I give people free advice, help them out, and I only have one email, scottykilmer@gmail.com. Anything else is just made up by somebody else. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.